Welcome back to part two of the two-part series in what do I keep in my doorstep box or emergency box or go bag, whatever people want to call it. Now, again, as in the first part, you will want a pencil and pen because with some of the tools and the keys, we will be going through different branding or names or places where you can buy certain tools. So you may wish to make notes. So, starting from this end of the table, we did say we're going to cover more homemade tools, and there is that, and we're also going to cover keys. Now, I was asked to get into somebody's house once. They had a night latch, they had a letterbox. It took me about 3 seconds to get in their house, but it took me about 5 minutes to make this tool from a coat hanger. Now, it doesn't look like a lot, but it is a specifically designed hooks with the length and angle and the strength, which is very strong. I made this, it took me 2 minutes to make. I was in their house in 4 seconds with this, and they still don't know how I did it. I think that's hilarious, but that's the name of the game. So I got them in the house through the letterbox. So my first piece of advice is, if you're having a new door fitted, lose the glass, lose the letterbox, have a little box on the outside of the house for your post. Don't have a letterbox, don't have a window, because I'm in your house before you know it. Another tool I made, again out of a coat hanger, doesn't look like much, but it is precision engineered. I can get in your house very fast and very easily with this. It's terrifying how easily you can do this. So these stay in my box and they are very useful, and I'm very pleased. This is one of two designs. This is the one I've got, and it is a thumb turn bypass tool, and it's designed to go in the door like this, and you twist it like this. And as you can see, the little end piece is twisting round. Now, as you can see, this is a lovely curve, and I've actually had to widen this part here quite a lot to fit on thumb turn locks, because when it comes, it is too thick and the hole is too small. There is a better one that I'm not going to name the company because I'm not doing product placement. It comes up, it goes across, it comes round, and it goes down. So it's like a four-sided thing almost, and it's much more out like this. It's a much better design than this one. I do intend to get one. They're about £85, but they are well worth it. But when I feel more of a need to buy the other one, I'm going to buy it. Now this, just for fun, ironically, I bought from a garden centre the other day, and it is designed to put your marshmallows or your sausages on, and it's extendable, and you cook your things. But what I found, because I like long tools and I like reaching tools, because I'm 5'2", and I do some sort of work that requires me accessing things through letterboxes, I find this is great. It's got spiked ends, but I won't take the covers off. You could use that to go through a letterbox and hook keys off a shelf or off the side of a wall on a hook that so many people seem to want to do, so that they can be accessed from a letterbox. Letterbox here is a big key to how to get in your house very easily. So this is quite good because you can go in, hook the keys, get them out and get straight in the door. Right. UPVC doors, as you can see, I've written here, door latch side, door side, and I have wrote frame. This is for my reference, but I've actually learned since that you can do it two ways. It's specifically one way if the door opens outwards, and if you have, say, two UPVC doors and you have a little porchway, normally the outer door will open outwards, the inner door will open inwards. So of course, depending if you're going down or if you're going up, if it's an inner door or an outer door, of course this is kind of irrelevant. But I was learning, and it's designed to go in through the door frame and push up or pull down, and it pulls the pins out of the way, that when you lift a handle and the pins go into the door to pull it tight to cut out moisture and air. If for some reason the door mechanism or lock fails, this is what you would use to go in, and you pull up, and once you pull up one peg, all the pegs will move. So an essential bit of kit, very nicely made one, quite chunky. Never used it yet, but it's there in case I do. I have got a pair of bat wings, but they're in a different bag that stay in the boot of my car that look like that, but these will be longer. Same principle, same theory, but this is in the box because it's quite hardcore, so that stays in my heavy duty emergency doorstep box. I have a selection of crowbars and pry bars. This is a little one. I have ones as long as this table. I've got flat ones, fat ones, pointy ones, and chunky ones. Always good. At some point you might need to use sheer force, smash something, break something, or just pop something out of the way. Great bit of kit. This is nice and small. As I say, and it's relevant for later tools. I'm 5'2" and a small build. This is a lovely little one. Perfect for many jobs, but you know when you're going to get to it. This was made from fishing wire. Another homemade tool. I was using this for practicing bypassing certain locks where you can, especially Borg locks, they seem to fit these very poorly. So your Borg locks here, your bolt's going in the door frame, and because they are angled sort of like this at the other side, I find that you can pop that in and push it, and it literally will push the bar out the way and you can get in. Borg locks on external gates I find are being very poorly fitted excuse me, at the moment, because you can either put your hand through and push down the handle from the other side, or you can put your hand through and you can twist the knob from the other side, or you can see the bolt like this, and they are not smooth bolts. They are kind of angled. They've got like the corner chopped off at an angle, so whatever wire, or one of these would do it, these and that would do it, one of these would do it. You can go in and push it, and you've literally got a slanted edge that's going to push it and pull the bolt in, and you're in through the door. So great combination locks, good key locks, Borg locks and similar types. But on external gates and fencing, I'm finding poorly fitted, because you can just look over the top, you can see the latch, and you can get to it every time. This is obviously, of course, this Harris, but also well known as Richard knives. Very bendy, very strong. Again, the corners are nice and rounded, but I've actually rounded these off myself with a file because they were quite sharp. Good. I did it on the course that I did into the door, same as the principle as this one. Pop it up, it pops the bolts out of the way and get in. You can use it to force in and push the latches out the way. You could literally go down that side of Borg locks and things, pop them out of the way. Bin stores, I'm finding are poorly fitted. The type that have a bolt and then a little bar, and the idea is the bar is pushed slightly when it's in the door frame. The little bar's pushed back slightly, and it stops this part from being pushed in with a tool like this. But what I'm finding is, because they're not putting a piece of metal in the way to push this backwards, the whole thing just fits in a big latch hole, and so you can just push this and it moves the whole thing back. A tip I learned recently, and you'll know when you see them, is if you see the little latch that looks like that and they have got the piece of metal in the door frame, in the keep, that's pushing this back slightly, all you need to do is push the door or pull the door, and this of course will drop into the keep hole, and then you can bypass the whole thing using this. That's what we use this for. Screwdriver, I have no idea what he's doing here. I have a million screwdrivers. He just was probably left on a job and used. Again, one of these, triangle key. I kept this one because it's a bit of a fancy one I picked up, but I have several of these, so it's just another one in the box. These, of course, you'll recognise as tension tools. These are great, probably on cars mainly, or on locks that have got weather flaps in, and of course it'll push the flap out of the way. If it's quite a big lock, it'll go in. You've got lots of tension, so there are two of those. Mainly cars, vehicles, and big locks with, as I say, the weather flap to stop dust and grit getting in. So obviously quite springy, different sizes, different tensions. Quite simple. Right. So in my box, at the top of the box that we will show you, this sits in and hangs on little pegs, but I'm going to move these out of the way in a minute, and I'm going to show you the actual box that everything from part 1 and part 2 fits in. So, in time position, we'll start this end. Little sort of pincer pliers, great for getting broken keys out of locks, and good for just grabbing, you know, big hands, sort of gripping this, little tiny gripping end. You get a good grip and a good tension on whatever you're trying to remove. These are great once you've drilled or attacked a lock, because again with a little peg in it goes, twist it, once the cylinder's removed, twist it round and you can unlock the lock. This side, annoyingly magnetic. Magnets I love, but they drive me nuts because you get screwdrivers that are magnetic when you don't want to be, or they're not magnetic when you do. But the idea is this goes into the lock once you remove the cylinder, and basically you pick up any specks of metal where you've drilled the lock through or you've had to damage the lock, and that can go in the cylinder with a magnet, and it will, just like this, and it will pick up all the little specks and dirt. So we pop that there. Here, I will come back to this one. So here as you will see, we have a wide selection of picks of all different types. Now we've got single pin picking ones. We've got these ones, I think it's safe to leave them here. You've got these, some of these are bog top picks. These are fun picks, these are very nice. Haven't found anywhere to use those yet. This is quite a popular one. I like that one. These are bog tar picks. So I like these. This is all a bog tar pick set, and this is definitely something you want to write down because these are very popular and they are one of my favourite types of pick because I am very, very successful with them. Picks, rakes, depending on your style, but 3 points, 2 points, 2 points, the sharper, 1 single point. I have lots of picks, and you'll find the more locks you come across, the more picks you'll need, and you're just going to find you end up going to build a huge collection up. So, other end here, another pair of grabby things, but a slightly different top here. So because it's like this, it's very good for getting right in broken keys or pinching something right at the end to try and get it out from wherever it is stuck. Again, bit cheap and cheerful. Apparently this needs adjusting before it's any good. It's a disc detainer pick. Haven't really learnt those yet because I was diverted away from them, so haven't needed it. This, somebody was showing me how to bypass a combination lock on a door. Little slit here for one purpose and little metal one here for sliding in behind, getting on a metal pin that when you turn the handle of the lock, the metal bar inside will twist and unlock it. This is designed to slide in behind and twist and pop, or twist and pop. My mentor, he will know who he is, he made this. We used it together, it was very successful, and I asked him if I could keep it in my box because I know that it would be useful to keep if ever I needed it, so I've kept that in here. Again, bypassing thing, pushing latches out the way, moving pegs out the way, bypassing things, sliding, very bendy. Ironically, I went to 3 separate colleges. The first college was Catering College. I bought this, it's a Swiss pastry and icing spatula, very expensive compared to the other knives I bought, and I never used it. I went to 2 further colleges, I never used it, and then it sat in my knife set from about 1988 till about 2 years ago, so that will be 2021, and all of a sudden I thought, hold on a minute, that'd be good for my locksmith kit. So it ended up going into the locksmith kit, where I have used it. Now, you will remember before when I told you with the little white credit cards that I cut the shapes out of metal tools to make templates. This is one of those tools. You have various sections here for pushing to bypass or hooking to bypass or even pushing in. This is one of the tools that I used as a template to make the little white credit card picks, bypass tools, of which I keep a set in my wallet because they're flat, nobody sees them, and that's that. Again, another bit of fun. I ordered a crowbar or a pry bar off Amazon, and the Chinese company thought it would be hilarious to send me this. And at first I thought, seriously, I wanted a full-size one about this big, but when I looked at this, it's not sharp, but it's quite sharp-ish at the end. This is quite sharp at the end, but not dangerous, and I thought, actually, this is a really good bit of kit I can use for, obviously, levering things when you don't want to use excessive force. I made this. It's a little hook thing. Useful whenever you think that's going to be useful for hooking things. Couldn't really explain it, you'd need to be on the job. Again, I seem to be collecting these. This is good for poking, moving things out of the way. Another little homemade tool. Again, just playing around with making tension tools out of windscreen wiper blades, which seems the craze. This is the other sort of hook it in, pull your latch across, push your latch in, hook it in, pull it across, wiggle the latch, or wiggle this way. So these two are the two that I used both for the white credit card bypass tools. These I used and so far have been absolutely useless, and they are based on the same principle as this one, but as you can see the gap is slightly different. This was very successful for bypassing the lock on a Borg lock or a combination lock, where you put the metal cabinets usually, or key boxes, you put the numbers in, you twist the handle, it opens. There's a bar like that behind, you twist the handle, it pulls the bar. This is designed, and these, although useless so far, are designed to sort of slot onto the bar and twist it round, because it's usually got a flat edge. That works, these don't. That is what they are used for. But I'm sure one day I will come across somewhere where they're actually quite useful. So let's pop these bits back for a minute. So as you can see, this is going to take about 3 years to pack all this stuff up away, if you remember video 1, because there's an awful lot in one box, and we are coming to the box, but I wanted to show you everything because you have asked me nicely. Now this, very interesting. I was working on a site and they had an old aluminium and glass door and the lock was literally hanging out of the door frame. It was embarrassing. And I went down to try and repair it, put a new faceplate on it, get it secure, at least long enough to replace the door. And as I was walking back, I found this in the car park. Now, people who know aluminium doors very well will know that the hook bolt that drops down is spring-loaded. And I could demonstrate, but I won't for security reasons, how somebody has made this, and they've done it to go inside the door, which would have been possible having seen it, and hooking the bolt enough, well, pushing one part out the way, and then being able to catch the bolt and hook it up, and move the hook bolt up. But they need to push something out the way first, then they can put the hook bolt up. I spotted this car park and I knew that was a tool made specifically for that purpose, and they were planning to come back and break in and rob it. Very well made. So I took it and I stuck it in my box because I know how we can use it. Right, more picks for you. Now, there is another video that says, do picks need to be expensive? No, they don't. Everybody criticises Amazon, but when I started out, the silver bladed ones here are Bogatar picks, and they are very nice and they are some of my favourites, but the black ones that you can see sprinkled here are part of a bigger kit, and I've got a lot in a little folder in an emergency kit that actually goes in my little army bag for work, as opposed to the big box, because the army bag goes everywhere. It contains my lunch, so it has an emergency kit. The box is always in the boot of the car, the bag is always with me. So there are a lot more of the black bladed ones than these, but these black bladed ones are part of a kit that came from Amazon, cost £18, and I love them. I bought a second kit because a couple of the picks broke. They're very good, they're very reliable, and if you're not a big clumsy club hammer hands, they are very effective and they will last you a very long time. I've been locksmithing and training for 4 years. This is part of my original kit. I've got a second kit, as I say, and I got them off Amazon. I love them, they're very effective. You can pick a million locks with them and they won't break unless you're just heavy-handed. And anybody that tells you they're cheap and nasty are cheap and nasty themselves, because I get on very well with them and they don't need to be expensive. They're about 18 quid. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. So, next, I went to an arts and crafts shop, because you never know where you're going to get the next big idea. And I found these, which are specifically for pottery and sort of plaster cast making. But as you can see, they are bendy, but the edges are strong. So you see they're very bendy, but that way you see it's very strong. Again, bypass tools. You never know when these are going to be perfect to slip in and slide in and push a latch or a bolt out of the way. So I actually got them as rather fancy bypass tools for latches and locks. This, I have absolutely no idea where I'm ever going to use this, but I seem to pick up little bendy bits of metal and stick them in a really useful box. But I thought this might be useful one day, so I stuck it in the box. This is a tent peg. We'll just put that there. This one is good for pushing sidebars out of the way, but it's also good for going down combination locks, for going between the wheels and trying to decode it. It's a little bit thick, haven't used it yet. These three, just random little picks. This is one of my favourites for doing key boxes, cabinets, cash boxes, wafer locks. This obviously single pin picking. This broke at the end, but I didn't want to get rid of it, and it's also very good for little cheap locks. Obviously, I'll leave that there. That's just for the GTA fire spray. Well, my brother, bless him, worked at Waitrose, as did I, but he worked there about 50,000 years ago, and then I followed in his footsteps and worked there as well. This is actually his original Waitrose knife that they carry everywhere. Their little, oh, there it is, it's that side. Their little knife for cutting boxes and whatnot open, and it was just sitting in the drawer going rusty, and I thought, little memory to my brother. I popped it in my box, so if ever I need it, I have a little safely stored away knife, and it reminds me of him, so it's kind of cool. Right, let's pop these things back in here. So as you can see, everything has to be packed in a certain way, otherwise it is not going to fit. And packing the stuff I got out from part 1 is going to take me weeks. Right, so we are going to put this down here for a moment and move to the next part. So, more black tape, self-explanatory, can't go wrong. These I got, these are great, and again I'm a very big advocate of getting into your house through your letterbox. Sleep well, don't have nightmares. This has a light on the end, so you can go into letterbox and you go, oh look, there's the night latch, that's how I'm going to get in. Here's my little tool, pop, and you're in. So mirror here, light here, and extendable. So great kit. So this was the first piece out of a kit. This is the second one, extendable, so nice and long, nice and heavy, and of course, it's not magnetic. There we are. It's got a very strong magnet on the end. So if you lose your keys or you can get to something and you can pop it down, you can stick it down through the floor, boink, and there you go. You can pick your keys off the floor. You don't need to force your way in. It does come with a smaller one that's very thin, but it's in my different bag. It's about the same length, it's very skinny, but it is also magnetic. And again, another round mirror, very useful, extendable. Good for looking around corners in letterboxes and trying to work out where things are to be able to get in. Again, in the wrong place with a little tension tool made out of a windscreen wiper blade. You can go there. Right. What else have we got? So let's put this back in here. So let's spend 3 hours doing this. Right. So again, this side, some of these are in the wrong place just because I've been working with them, so I just put them back and I'll know where I find them. So a couple of just flag picks for dimple picks. Be careful when you're going out buying tools because again these are flag picks and I found these absolutely useless. I've tried a million times to use them. I think they're too small and although well made, I have not been successful with them at all. I won't get them all out, but you've got a load of tension tools here of all different varieties. This came in a little, oh this is a Topper Keyway one. So generally, Topper Keyway ones are over this side, and some squared off ones. And this side you have a whole world of different types. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all. But they're different thicknesses, they're different lengths of blade, depending how small, how tight, how long and how wide your keyway is, and how much tension you want to put on. So this is obviously a really tiny one. But as many different locks as you get, then get, you know, sort of Topper Keyway like this. Topper Keyway, there's a few in here. But as many locks as you can get, you're going to get tension tools because there's literally thousands of them. So you just build up a collection because the more you get, the more you need, the more you need, the more you get, and the more locks you come across. They're going to find they're too long, too short, too fat, too skinny. So you're just going to keep collecting them until you run out of places to buy them. because you're going to need all of them, but you'll buy them as you go along, and there are literally thousands. Right, the box. So, in part 1 and part 2, well, this is part 2, this is the box. It is a beast. It is the big boy, and when it is full, it weighs an absolute ton. I think it actually weighs more than me. But it is a beautiful box. I love it. It's very, very effective. And just so this doesn't fall over if I open it, that sits in the bottom, and I put all of this gumph around the edges around here. And then this sits in the top here, and I slot other things in here. Lid goes on. Love this box. Opens up, and the lid will, I'm being careful it doesn't tip over because it's lighter, but as you can see, the lid holds itself. If you go to Aldi's, I think it is, they do a black and a blue box. Very similar, very nice, but if you open the lid, it will go straight backwards. It will not support itself. The hinges are not designed to lock, and the lid will go backwards and the hinges will pop out and the lid will fall off. And it has sections like this, so you've got to be careful to make sure you don't let the lid go back on the others, because it will just come off and the hinge hooks will fall out of themselves and the lid falls off and crap will go everywhere. Bystandly. Right, we are coming to the end, but we are so far from the end. Now, I did say earlier, let me clear these off, have a pencil and pad ready. We didn't cover those, because there are going to be names that you need to write down.